Good morning, CEOs. I hope that you are having an amazing day. So, I wanted to come on again and talk about purpose. I keep reading when people are asking and just talking about saying, have you guys found your purpose yet? Like, what is purpose? I don't understand. How do I know if I'm walking in my purpose? And what you first have to understand is purpose was placed on the inside of you when you were created. When God created you, he put purpose, whatever your gift is, on the inside of you. And in addition to that, he gave you a future and a hope to go along with your purpose. Now, your purpose is not for you. Your purpose is to do the will of God and do exactly what he called you to do in order to point people to him. That is what purpose is for. And when you understand that purpose is for God and not for you, you will begin to operate in the things of God and exactly what he called you to do in obedience. As my church is studying in the book of Mark, and we're doing 31 days in that book. And I was looking in the chapter 1, verse 16, where it talks about four fishermen following Jesus. And when I read the word, I like to just read and make sure I just break down each sentence and not so much looking at the chapter as a whole, but just looking at each sentence and asking God to give me revelation from that. And it says, one day as Jesus was walking along the shore of the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and his brother Andrew throwing a net into the water. Now, let me stop right here. This is what they're doing, okay? So when they were created, Simon and his brother Andrew were created to be fishermen. That was their means of getting money. They were fishermen. So some of you might be, or someone watching this might be a teacher, someone may be a lawyer, someone may be a doctor, someone may own a business already, and someone may be a banker. That was what they were called to do. They were fishermen. So he saw them on the side fishing for their food for the day, okay? And then it says, throwing a net into the water, for they fished for a living. I'm an educator. Before I left my job, I taught for a living. I was an assistive technology specialist for a living. That's what I do or did, and do because I still educate, but that was my living, and it was what came naturally for me, and it was the gift that God put on the inside of me. Jesus called out to them. He called. As I always teach you, anytime God is about to have you walk and follow him, he's going to call you. And when he calls you, there has to be an immediate response. There can't be anything that's delayed. You can't say, hold on, Jesus, I have something else I'm doing over here. I'm trying to catch these fish because, I have to make a living, because this was their living. So they didn't have time to make excuses like, no, I have to make sure I get 5 pounds of fish today, because if I don't, then I won't be able to feed my family. It said Jesus called to them, come, follow me. So before you walk into your purpose, there's going to be a calling on your life, and Jesus is going to ask you to follow him. Ty, how do I find my purpose? Word, come, follow me. That is in the word. You find your purpose through following Christ. Again, you find your purpose through following Christ. He called out to them and he said, come, follow me. Not follow your life coach, not follow a book that someone wrote, not follow what the world is doing. The word said, Jesus said to them, even when they had their careers, come, follow me. And then he says, and I will show you how to fish for people. Watch this. A lot of us are getting so confused and we don't understand what our purpose is. You're already working in your purpose. The thing about that is, Purpose doesn't change, but seasons do. So in one season, and I'll use me for an example, I was educating in the classroom. And the next season, I was an assistive technology specialist, but I was still working with kids. In this season, I own my own business and I have a center for children. And the next season, I may be ministering and teaching adults. The gift, whatever you have on the inside of you, is not going to change because that's purpose and that's what God put inside of you. But when you go and you follow Christ and do exactly what he called you to do, you'll go from I'm working for money, just like they said, like this is what I'm doing for a living, to I am working for Christ. That's the difference. So God shifted their perspective. He said, look, I know you're fishing or casting your nets for fish, but watch this. I want you to continue to cast your nets, but you're going to cast your nets for fish and for people. So this is your living. But while you have that gift on the inside of you, I want you to move from making a living to now walking into the things of God and following me. So when you follow me, not only will you make a living and I will provide for you, but you will also still be pointing people to me. And then he said, and they left their nets at once and followed him. There was no delay. A lot of us are being disobedient because we are delaying our calling, and we're delaying following Christ because we're saying, I'm making the money. I'm already working in my gift. I don't need you, Jesus, because I'm making $70,000 or $80,000 a year. I'm already okay. I have the house. I have the car. I have everything that I need. So when you call me for a purpose, I'm already doing something. I'm already working. No, what he wants you to do is say, look, I want you to shift from working for yourself to working for me. Because when you work for me, you work in your purpose, and then you're also pointing people to me, because what's happening is when God creates that shift, you're going to have no choice but to rely solely on him. Because if he asks you, like for me, to step out into the unknown and to start this center, yes, I went from education to education, but my thing is I had to solely depend on God to finance what he was doing, to depend on him to send the people to bless me, to get the donors and everything I needed. So everything shifted from me saying I can depend on tithe to now I just have to depend on God. And there is a difference when you're depending on yourself and then you're becoming fishers of men for God in your purpose. So when you think about purpose, I don't want you to think like purpose is some big thing, like I have to be on a stage or I have to be doing something great. No, purpose is you following Jesus by doing the work that he placed on the inside of you and using your gift. That's what purpose is. But the difference is you may be working on the job or working for someone, but working in your purpose by doing that. I know this is a group for entrepreneurs, and I don't want you to get caught up in this just entrepreneur mind, like I have to own my business and I have to quit my job. No, that's not what I want to teach you. What I want to teach you is make sure that you're walking into the things of God. So for this season, if he called you to be on your job, that's okay. That's fine. But still make sure, yes, I'm giving my time to my job, but I'm also doing what he called me to do. So I could be educating, but then I'm building up my clients for tutoring because God is going to call me off my job to open a tutoring center. So make sure that you have that balance. Or I might be a banker, but God is going to call, or I might be, an accountant on my job, but then God is going to call me to have clients and open up my own accounting firm. So again, your gift is not going to change. The way it looks is, and purpose is, again, walking in your gifts and then following Christ. First, come, follow me. Follow Christ. Number 2, answer the call immediately. Do not wait. Number 3, God is about to shift you from working for a living on your own to following him and making you fishers of men so that you can rely solely on him and then point people to him. And so again, it said, and they left their nets at once and followed him. That's what this life is about. It's not about building a brand, because and it's nothing wrong with making your business look great, because that's how you attract people. But don't get so focused on building a brand, and then you're like, I got to build my brand. I got to build my brand because this is me. And then you leave Christ out of the equation. And I see a lot of people do that. Like they're building this brand, and it's like, okay, where is God? Where is God in all of this? Because all I hear is me, 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 me. And this word has nothing to do with you. Jesus is on every page, even when you don't see his name. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with him. So yeah, you may be building a brand, but you're making sure, you have to make sure that you're following Christ and doing exactly what he called you to do, because you can build a brand and it never flourished because you didn't count God into the equation. So make sure what you're doing is based on what God called you to do while you're following him. And I know a lot of us say, oh, I have so many good ideas, like good ideas, good ideas, good ideas. But is it a God idea? Make sure, again, when he calls you, that the shift that's taking place is because you're following him and exactly what he told you to do. So again, you can be casting your net, whatever that is, but when God calls you to follow him, make sure that you're doing that. And purpose is not going to change. It just looks different in every season. I hope that you learned something today. Again, I came from Mark 1. If God calls you, and you can see it through every book in the word, there was no delay on the calling. There was no delay there was not a delay on the calling or in the answer or obedience of the people that follow God. So if you're looking for what you're supposed to be doing, stop looking and follow him and seek him, because in your looking, you'll be attracted to so many things, but in your seeking, you'll be attached to the thing and to life. And that's what we are here for. And that's what your purpose is. I hope that you guys have an amazing day. This is CEO Ty. Love you guys, but God loves you so much more. Bye.